All right, so this is the Unit 1 and 2 end of unit study guide. So this is for the plus class. So question 1, if we're looking at scale, figure B is a scale copy of figure A, they want to know what's the scale factor going from figure A to figure B. So I have 1 unit here and 3 units here. So if I'm going from 1 to 3, I'm going to multiply by 3. So I have a scale factor of 3. Now, if I was going from figure B to figure A, that would be 3 to 1. I would be dividing by 3, which would give me a scale factor of 1/3. Just kind of keep that in mind. You'd be using the reciprocal. Question 2, polygon PQRS is a scale copy of ABCD. Select all the true statements. Segment AD is 1.5 times as long as PS. So this is 2 and this is 3. So segment AD is 1.5 times as long as PS. Well, AD is shorter, so that's not true. Segment QP is 1.5 times as long as AB. Well, that is true because AB is 1 and QP is 1.5. So QP is 1.5 times as long as AB. So B is correct. The measure of angle ABC So the measure of ABC is equal to the measure of PQR. Well, I know the angles are exactly the same size, so that's true. The measure of angle DCB is half the measure of angle SRQ. Well, I know the angles are exactly the same size, so that's out. The area of polygon PQRS is 1.5 times the area of polygon ABCD. Well, I know the length would be 1.5 times and the width would be 1.5 times. So it would be 1.5 times 1.5. So that's not true. So B and C would be the correct answers. Dave's scale drawing a tree outside his house. If 3 centimeters on the scale drawing equals 7 feet. So I've got centimeters and feet. I know 3 equals 7, and it says the actual, what's the actual height of the tree? If I have 6.9 centimeters. So I'm always going to find for 1. So I'm going to divide by 3 on each side. Now I'm going to get a number that's going to keep going on and on and on. So 7 divided by 3, I get 2.3 repeating. So I'm just going to leave that in my calculator. And then I'm going to multiply by 6.9. And I get 16.1 feet. So my answer would be 16.1 feet. All right, the scale drawing of a rectangular park is 4 inches by 5 inches long. The actual park is 320 yards wide. What is the area? All right, so I know I'm comparing wide to long. And I know I have to convert everything before I find the area. So I know I have 4 inches wide, 5 inches long. And then I've got 320 yards wide. So I'm going to divide by 4. So I'm going to do 5 divided by 4 on my calculator. And I get 1.25. And then I'm going to multiply by 320. I don't know why I put a decimal there. Times 320. So I get 400. So from here, these are my 2 dimensions. So now I have 320 by 400. So I'm going to multiply 320 by 400. And I get 128,000 yards. And that'd be square yards. All right, question 5. On a scale drawing for a house, the dining room is 4 inches by 4.5 inches. And it's telling me that half an inch is equal to 2 feet. Well, this one's an easy one to convert, so I'm not really going to make a table for this one. I could, but I don't have to. If I know half an inch is 2 feet, then I know 1 inch equals 4 feet. So I know the 4 inches is going to be 16 feet. And then 4.5 inches is going to be 18 feet. So I have to convert my dimensions first, then I find the area. So I'm going to do 16 times 18 to find the area. And I get 288 feet squared. Then it tells me that the flooring costs $375 per square foot. So I'm going to do 375 times 288. And I get $1,080. Triangle MNO is proportional to triangle MPQ. So I know I have a small triangle inside a bigger triangle. It says PQ is 6. MP is 4. And NO is 24. They want to know MN, so they're looking for that. So I'm going to make myself a table, small to big. So I know 6 and 24 go together because they're corresponding sides. I'm going to find for 1, and then I'm going to go to 4. So I'm going to divide by 6. I'm going to multiply by 4, and I get 16. So it'll be 16 feet. All right, the next one says, what is the constant of proportionality for object 2? So I've got 2 lines here, and they want to know object 2. So the constant of proportionality is the amount for 1. So I have to find a spot where this line right here is going through the crosshair. And I find that right there. So the X is going to be 45 and the Y is 30. So I'm going to do 30 divided by 45. And I know that because I've got my X and my Y. I know my X is 45. I know my Y is 30. And I want to find the constant of proportionality. So when X is 1, what is Y? So I'm going to divide by 45 on each side. So 30 divided by 45 gives me 0.6 repeating. So 0.6 repeating is my constant of proportionality, or 2/3. Either one. All right, we're planning a party. It says that they want to know who charges more for 45 guests and how much more. All right, so first thing I need to do is find out how much they charge for 1 guest at Parties Plus. So I'm going to find for 1. So I'm going to divide by 10. So $3.75. And then I know that for each guest at the other place, it's $2.75. So for 45 guests, I'm going to do $3.75 times 45. So I'm going to do that in my calculator because I don't want to waste my time testing doing multiplication. I get 168.75. And then the other one is 2.75 times 45. And I get 123.75. So then I'm just going to subtract the two. And I get $45. So they want to know who charges more. It would be Parties Plus. And they charge $45 more. All right, the table shows the cost at different amounts to buy apples. They want us to write an equation that models the relationship. Well, they don't have the cost for 1 pound of apples, so I'm going to have to add a row and find the amount for 1. I'm going to divide by 4 on each side. So 1024 divided by 4. And I get $2.56. So I know $2.56 times the pounds of apples is going to equal the cost. So I know C equals 2.56p. So no matter how many pounds of apples I buy, I multiply it by $2.56 and I'll get the cost. A banquet hall charges $110 to rent a room for 4 hours. Which equation could be used to determine the cost for X hours of use? So for any hours of use. So I've got my cost, and that's Y. And then I've got my X hours. So that's 4 hours for $110. So I want to find for 1 hour, so I'm going to divide by 4. So on my calculator, I'm going to do 110 divided by 4. I get $27.50. So I know I'm going to take $127.50, multiply it by the number of hours, and that's going to give me the cost. So I know that the cost is equal to 27.5x. So it should be C. The graph shows the distance a family traveled after a certain number of hours on their trip to the beach. What does the point 240 mean in this context? So I read the graph as time and distance. So in 4 hours, they've traveled 240 miles. So if I was going to write that in words, I would write in 4 hours, the family traveled 240 miles. Based on the way the graph looks, I would assume that they're probably at their destination, but I don't know that for sure. All right, question 12. What is the constant of proportionality or the unit rate? So I'm going to look at my graph and I'm going to find where I meet the crosshair, which is right here. So I know that my X is 2, my Y is halfway between 12 and 24, which would be 18. So I know that I have X and Y, so 2, 18. I want to find when X is 1, so I'm going to divide by 2, and I get 9. So the constant of proportionality is 9. So in 1 hour, they travel 9 miles. Last one. 4 customers at a grocery store this morning each purchased the same type of chicken. The table shows the amounts of chicken they purchased and the costs. Using the data in the table above, what is the constant of proportionality? So that just means the unit rate. K, which is just the unit rate that can be used to find the total cost for X pounds of chicken. So I know I'm looking for 1, So I'm going to add a row and put a 1 there. I can choose any row, but I'm going to choose the top one. So I'm going to divide 13 by 3.25. So my calculator, I'm doing 13 divided by 3.25, and I get 4. So the unit rate, or the total cost, would be 4. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. Have a great rest of your day.